Hello, welcome to Size Daily Journal Podcast, Episode 6, Reminding Myself. Hi everybody, this is Sayante coming to you for this episode 6, Reminding Myself. And so today, some thoughts was coming to my mind as I was looking at some different spiritual teachings in regards to the Bible. And, something that's kind of hard for me, I'm not sure if I would exactly say hard, but excuse me, there are some deliverance ministries and stuff like that, and I get kind of on the edge when I see deliverance ministries, which is nothing that they should stop doing. But, when I see deliverance ministries or see deliverance ministry, but, you rarely see any, that was my phone notification, but you rarely see any discussions or teachings about the instructions of God. I believe if anybody is going to do a deliverance ministry, then they should at least, this is my opinion, but if anybody's going to do a deliverance ministry, they need to make sure, that they are including the instructions of the Father, because the instructions of the Father is what lets us know what we shouldn't do, so we won't be needing to repent of that certain thing like all the time, because we won't be doing it. So there are some very good deliverance ministries, just like Yeshua said, if they it was this part where it was an example where the disciples saw somebody casting out demons in Yeshua's name, and the disciples tried to forbid him, and Jesus was like, no, don't stop him, don't forbid him, because he can't quickly say anything bad about Yeshua. So I think it also said something like who isn't against me is for me, or something like that. Excuse me if I'm not saying it right, but yeah. So I have to remind myself that, of course, not everybody has everything right, and not everybody, of course, nobody's perfect. And of course, Christians or believers are we're always going to have different views in some way, but something that should always be there is that, something that should always be there is our faith in Jesus and Yeshua, and the obedience, the instructions of Yah. Many people's opinions may change or views may change in regards to, the faith part, but it's, but the instructions should always be the same. There are instructions given to us by the Father, and then there are like spiritual instructions that are, in more detail when you read the New Testament. So, yeah. Have you ever felt like, have you ever kind of like, I don't know, been kind of like in that position where you're kind of like, testing the waters at the same time. At the same time, that there's like a season, there's like a season when God, you know, may send a certain message through somebody that is not exactly, how can you say it? It may send it through somebody that might not be fully accepting the picture of what one should be believing in, and so yeah, of course it does say to test the spirits by the spirit, and so of course you should always do that. At the same time, today I was telling myself to take it with a grain of salt. I've been telling myself that recently. Today is take it with a grain of salt, take it easy, and so but yeah, that was pretty much everything that was on my mind. Was that sometimes you run into teachers and teachers of the Bible. They have some teachers have good teachings, but sometimes you don't really ever you don't there's like this imbalance. Some teachers are all about teachings about spiritual things, but the instructions are yeah. And on this other side, they're all about the instructions of yeah, but you don't hear that much about spiritual things. And so, I was, when I used to go to churches, I was on that side of, well, honestly, I didn't really hear much about spiritual things. You always hear a good sermon, but you don't really hear about spiritual things like spiritual gifts and that sort of stuff. You don't really hear anything about it. You always hear a good sermon that would, build you up for that time that you're there. But when you're thinking about it, when you're going home, it kind of just slips your mind, So, yeah, I just pray that, the body of Messiah just continue to get into unity, especially not just in faith, but in the doctrine and obedience as well. And Yeshua's name. So